one, this green packet is going to become something that you should use all the time. There are steps on every single step of what you need to do. You may not be able to build the project just from reading the steps, but they hopefully should jog your memory to bring it back to, oh yeah, I remember talking about that. So make sure you use the steps in here if you have questions. We're going to be looking at the side layout page. This side layout lays out where the dados need to go in my project or in your project. After we locate this page, the next thing I need to do is look at my boards and decide which is the inside and which is the outside. A couple things I look for. Number one is any color. You know, is there a big knot or something I want to work around? If there's an ugly side because the color or whatever the texture of the wood, or maybe there's a big ding out of your board, that should be on the inside of your project. The door is going to be closed 99% of the time, so people are going to be looking mostly at the outside of your project. So find the ugly side, and that's the side we're going to draw lines on. For me, I think this looks a lot nicer than that. So I'm going to start drawing on this side. Also look and see if there's a whole bunch of chipped out pieces. If there's a bunch of chip out right here, put that on the inside so it doesn't get seen. Next thing I'm going to do is locate the side layout, and I'm going to start with dados. Now a dado is a groove or a channel that's cut across the grain of your board. A shelf is eventually going to sit inside that dado. Dados help align our project and help make the shelves really strong. So if I'm looking at my board, how far up is it to the first line of my bottom dado? 2 1/4. So I'm going to make a mark at 2 1/4 and then at 3 inches. So how wide is my dado? 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to take and draw it right on the inside. Remember, draw this with a pencil. Don't draw it with a pen, because if we're off or need to move something, it's a lot more difficult to get rid of the pen. And I'm going to move up to this top one. It's hard to read because the text box is right over it, but it's 6 1/2 and 7 1/4. And then the very top one, that one's not labeled. I should have labeled it. But anybody have a guess at how wide it is? 3/4 is right. So now I'm going to use a T-square. There's also regular framing squares in there. But I'm just going to use this, find the marks that I have made, and transfer them all the way down. This is just to make life a little bit easier for us when we cut it out. So these lines, if you were going to build 100 of these, by the time you got to number 10, you probably would stop drawing all the lines all the way across. But it really does help us set the machines up well. It's the exact same lines that go on your other side. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. Instead of having to measure them, I'm just going to transfer the marks over. It is important, though, especially when we're first learning, to draw these lines in. They're going to help alleviate and fix a lot of mistakes before they even happen. Now, I'm going to set these up so they read like a book. So each side is a cover of my book. So if I go like this, it should close and the lines should meet up nicely. Correct? That's nothing too crazy. We're going to put a rabbit in here though. And a rabbit is going to be, you can imagine, the spine of the book. The rabbit is 3/8 by 3/8. And it's a little bit hard to visualize what a rabbit does. But when you get a chance today, look at the example project. You'll see that on the back side, there's a little recess so that the back of the project can sit in there and we don't see the back from the side profile of the cabinet. All that you need to remember is that it's a 3/8 by 3/8 notch that we're going to cut. And it's super important that we get two opposite sides so that the rabbit is like the spine of a book. When we close the book, the spine is in the back. It's super easy. This is the most common mistake that people make on this step of the project, is they make 2 lefts or 2 rights. It's very easy to do, especially if we don't do layout lines. So now, when I close it, the rabbit is on the inside. My project is now laid out properly. The very last thing I need to do before I go cut my project out is I'm going to grab my face frame, set it on top, But what I'm double checking is that my layout lines are covered up by the pieces of face frame. Because there's going to be shelves on here, eventually this is going to sit, this will be one side and the face frame goes like this. I want to double check that my face frame indeed covers up all of these lines. What would I need to do if I could see? If I had a line going right here, what would I need to do? Okay, you can double check your measurements on your side. The easiest solution if you have a big problem is to just take out the screws of your middle rail and slide it up or down to cover up wherever this dado is. Does that make a little bit of sense? Alright, that is how to lay out your